Hello, good morning, my friends. We are live. We're live. Thanks for joining on your TVs. You are watching on the Smart Money Culture TV network, as well as joining around the world on LinkedIn, YouTube, X, Instagram, and the rest of those platforms that we go live on. Always good to see you guys. Wonderful to do the show. Hats off to my main man, Fly Mackey, the man with the plan, the visionary with the Smart Money Culture TV network. We are growing fast. I can tell you that we have, we're about to really go big. We're about to really go big. We're going to increase the number of homes that we're in a lot, tens of millions. And I am really excited about it. That is going to make a big difference to a lot of people that are involved already, and people that aren't involved yet, and it will be involved. Now, if you do want to be involved, and if you like what we're doing on the show, I want you to go over to Smart Money Culture TV, smartmoneyculture.tv, and click contact us and send us a check. Send us a check, because that's what we need in order to grow. Of course, we need capital, and you can be involved and make off handsomely with it. TV, I know we love social media. We love social media, right? All of us, we do. We love social media. I will say, though, this algorithm they've been throwing at us here in the last few days as NATO has been in town, or maybe it's been since this new safety has been in charge, is really something else. But TV, the ROI on TV is unbelievable. The ROI on TV is $1 for every, it's $7 rather, for every $1 that's spent. $7 for every $1 spent on TV. So those are big numbers. So we have an action-packed show again today. Of course, I'm sure everybody saw Biden. I mean, he was like one gaffe after the other yesterday. He just couldn't keep himself straight. Now, I am still in the camp that thinks that this guy is acting, and I don't know. Maybe you don't agree with me. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it was acting. Maybe they're giving him some kind of stuff to keep him crazy here. But this is, he called Zelensky. He said this was all yesterday. I'll just play it. I mean, you can't really make this stuff up. You can't make it up. Like, he called Zelensky Putin, and he also said his vice president was Trump. Trump is living pain-free, rent-free in his head here.
And now I want to hand it over to the president of Ukraine, who has as much courage as he has determination. Ladies and gentlemen, President Putin. And now I want to hand it over to the president of Ukraine, who has as much courage as he has determination. Ladies and gentlemen, President Putin.
Oh, man. Another awkward moment from this guy. I mean, tell me that guy's not a reptilian. That guy's a reptilian, guys, in a mask or something. Anyway, who knows? All right, here we go. This is. I mean, we'll watch it from the single. This is pretty.
Now I want to hand it over to the president of Ukraine, who has as much courage as he has determination. Ladies and gentlemen, President Putin. President Putin. We're going to beat President Putin. And now I want to hand it over to the president of Ukraine, who has as much courage as he has determination.
Look, I'm following my this is. I mean,
I'm following the advice of my commander in chief, the chief of staff of the military, as well as the Secretary of Defense and our intelligence people. I'm following the advice of my commander in chief, the chief of staff of the military.
I know a lot of people think that Biden just introduced this. I know a lot of people think that. I'm going to cue up the other video here. I know a lot of people think that Obama is running the show behind the scenes. I used to think that too, but I don't really anymore. He's just an errand boy for the deep state, for the central banking cartel. My sources tell me that Biden's pollsters informed Biden that he has an 85% probability of defeat, and he is now trailing by 6 points in Pennsylvania. This was on the great Alex Jones show here. Boom, boom, boom.
My sources tell me, Alex, that yesterday Joe Biden's pollsters, he has 4, told him, based on their most recent polling, that he has an 85% probability of defeat. They also told him, among other things, that he is now trailing by 6 points in Pennsylvania. Now, what impact that will have remains to be seen.
Roger Stone.
The biggest single bundler and fundraiser for Democrat and left causes, a fellow named Kramer in New York, has made it clear that he's not giving Joe money. The money has largely been cut off. You also have a situation in which I think Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer and the House Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries are increasingly nervous because the polling coming back is suddenly showing that states and districts that were heretofore thought to be safe are now suddenly competitive. Now, juxtapose that against the backdrop of Hunter Biden emerging as the gatekeeper for his father, Hunter Biden now emerging as the chief political strategist for his father. Jill Biden's position, I think, is pretty clear. You have to believe the other members of the Biden crime family fear prosecution. We know, we have bank records. This isn't conjecture or conspiracy theory. Sorry, Dan Goldman, these are what are called facts. We have bank records that show that members of the Biden crime family have taken at least $18 million from foreign entities.
So he's not wrong. I don't think that we're going to prosecute a former president. Whether you think that's good or bad, I'm mixed on it. Because on one hand, if you don't ever hold anybody to account, then you can't expect anything to change. But then on the other hand, we start throwing former presidents in jail, and I think this whole thing is over. This whole thing might be over anyway, guys. You know what I mean? Who knows? So what was the other gaffe? So he called him vice president. Okay, and then here's the vice president clip. This is the other clip I wanted to say. I mean, I can only imagine the rest of the world watching this. I mean, everybody's got to be laughing like us.
I wouldn't have picked Vice President Trump to be vice president, but I think she was not qualified to be president. I wouldn't have picked Vice President Trump to be vice president, but I think she was not qualified to be president. I wouldn't have picked Vice President Trump to be vice president.
This was in response. If I had the whole clip, it'd be better here. But this was in response to there's the close-up of Zelensky right there.
What you're seeing there is a different angle, and you are seeing President Zelensky's reaction to the moment that President Biden mistakenly called him President Putin. And so you're seeing Zelensky's reaction there right before he went.
Oh my gosh. So anyway, I mean, he's declining at best. The thought that this guy is going to make it through another 4 years, nobody thinks that. He could live longer, but like either one, they got him hopped up on so much stuff that he can't see straight, or two, it's an act, like I've been saying for 4 years. It's really hard for me to say now. He does look like a senile old man. I will say that. But the fact that he can't get on stage and not make some major error being on stage for like 5 minutes is very telling. You can only imagine that guy in world meetings and stuff. I mean, it's a joke. It's a joke. So everybody's predicting Trump in a landslide. I have actually been saying that it will. They've been preparing for Trump to win from the get-go. Biden may actually be the sacrificial lamb, and that's why they don't want to trade him out, because if he loses, they don't really lose much face, right? If Biden loses, everybody expects him to lose right now. So the Democrats really don't lose any face on that. Oh, okay, well, we had a candidate that didn't work. Trump gets in. They still have the administrative state. They still control the deep state. I won't say that's the Democrats because it's really a uniparty that controls the deep state. It's the Republican and the Democrats. They're the same. We have an illusion of choice here. It's called controlled opposition. For those who don't know, it's called controlled opposition, and it doesn't really matter. Everything's controlled by the administrative state, the deep state, pulling the strings. You have, of course, the central bank for the last 111 years, and that's the total control of the media. And that's the other reason I think that as well, Trump is probably they've just been preparing. I've been saying it for a year. They've just been preparing for Trump to win. Now, it could go either way because, of course, we have the magic electron voting machines and the mail-in ballots and all this stuff. But I think they just want to make sure that he can't get much done is the point. So anyway, Fed says inflation is down. And the markets aren't really sure. They're kind of reacting fairly, they're not sure. They want to see maybe some interest rates come down a little more. They want to feel better maybe about the wars going on. I'm not sure. We have the great Matt Dixon here. Oh, one other thing I wanted to mention here before I get into that is Orban went to Mar-a-Lago on a peace mission while they met yesterday, and Biden made all these gaffes. And so that was fairly interesting too. And we just Orban here. Orban went and met with Trump, and this was fairly interesting because he's been on a peace mission here to try to bring peace. We continue the mission with Mar-a-Lago with the president, real Donald Trump. This is very going to Mar-a-Lago, White House South, as they call it. Very interesting situation that we have going on in the world right now. I will tell you that it is quite remarkable. You have, and he is now, I believe, Matt Orban is kind of like I don't know how the EU does it, I guess, but he's kind of like the acting Secretary General or something like this. Or he has like some role now that each country or member nation gets for just a short while or something like that. Is that correct?
Sorry, I was actually just looking at charts. I didn't actually follow your...
Matt, the great Matt Dixon, doing what he does, looking at the charts.
Yeah. I did hear a little bit earlier what you're saying about Biden. Obviously, it was in the news everywhere and pretty shocking. I'm not sure whether I follow your idea about being a sacrificial lamb, because to be honest, it actually brings the whole American electoral thing into disrepute. I mean, how can... you know, you got to feel for the guy. I don't know what they're doing putting him up there, but he's clearly not fit.
Clearly.
You would hope that whoever is going for president, you would hope they'd be among the sharpest tools in the box, you know, the sharpest guy in the nation. I mean, mixing up, you know, Zelensky for Putin and talking about vice president.
I mean, like, this is like, these guys are like sworn enemies.
Yeah.
Right?
It's just absolutely shocking. Yeah. So I don't know what to make of it. You know, they've got to bring somebody else in, surely, because you've got to have a race there. It's not, you can't have a one horse race. It just doesn't make any sense. It just means it's just not credible.
It does. And you know, and that's, well, it's a funny conversation that everybody has right now because they're like, oh, no. There's nothing they can do. You know, the ballots, because they have all these dates, you know, and the ballots are already printed and whatever. And I'm like, look, guys, I could print the ballots in a couple of days. Okay. So can they, like, you know, come on, let's be real. Yeah, it's crazy. I mean, I know everybody just must be laughing everywhere.
Yeah, it's a shame.
Or not even laughing, horror in total horror of what's going on, because of course everybody's here plotting out the hostile takeover of the civilized world, and we got this guy at the head.
You're right. It's actually, people aren't laughing people are genuinely quite concerned that this is the way things are. It's not good. Whew. So anyway,
Yes.
over to the markets.
Over to the markets.
Yeah. So quite interesting what you're saying about inflation. I'm not going to look in too much detail about inflation, but the figures that came out yesterday were better than expected. So it's actually a bit surprising that the markets didn't react better than they have done. And they're still just treading water. So actually, I've got something on here. So obviously, inflation came out better than expected. It actually fell. Both the core and the headline fell, and they fell by more than expected. So actually, I may just zip out here and just have a quick look at. I'm sure I put something on my X feed about. Maybe it's just in reply to somebody. No, here it is. I think no. Okay, I'll not bother with that one. But basically, we're seeing that inflation, core inflation, has actually fallen consistently now for over a year. So it's definitely moving in the right direction, no doubt about it. But I just wonder why the actual level of inflation now, I know what you're saying, people are hurting, inflation has been much, much higher. But I think inflation has actually fallen a lot. And this is trueflation, which is an independent measure of inflation, which was sky high, as you said. It's much higher than they were reporting previously, but now they're saying it's much lower than what's being reported. So it brings into question the validity of the data they're putting out. The Fed and so on, what data they're putting out. So they're saying that real inflation, and this is supposed to be a much more accurate measure of inflation, is down now at 1.81%. That's below the target rate. That means that the economy is really now beginning to shrink. Certainly prices are, not rising anywhere near as fast. In fact, they're below the target rate. And so
it's crazy though, because I can just tell you, they just sold the house next week. So I had they redid the houses on either side of my house. And the one here sold like 2 years ago. They redid it 1.3. And then they redid the one right here. And it's even smaller than this one. And it just sold for 1.59. And everything's going up. By a lot. So I don't even know where they're getting this trueflation stuff.
There's no doubt. It just depends what you're taking into account. And there's no doubt all this money printing, the money has to flow into things like real estate, for example. It's flowed into real estate. Real estate is massively inflated. Yeah. But
because God knows you want to put it somewhere, right? Put it something that keeps going up at least. It's crazy.
Yeah, and the problem is, as we know, it goes into the hands of the wealthy to put into assets that are just appreciating in price. But ordinary people are actually living much more hand to mouth. They're suffering with day-to-day expenses, and the money's gone into the hands of the wealthy. So there's just a bigger and bigger divide as time goes on. So that's just the picture at the moment. Why did the markets not take it so well? Well, I'm not sure. Why they didn't, we can see here from Bitcoin, for example, we're in a correction. I was hoping that we're going to push from this.
It
support.
did reject just like you said it would at 60, right? 3 times went right at 59.5, 59.8, rejected, which is exactly what you said may happen. And here we are.
Yeah, and I've been looking at this in more detail. So just from the all-time high here, we've had some kind of probably 3-wave correction down, a 3-wave correction up, and then looking like a 5-wave move down. That would be a 335. That's a flat correction. That is perfectly what you'd expect in terms of a correction, and then you'd expect a move from there to all-time highs. I've looked at this final 5-wave move down, and that's what you have to do to analyze whether it is whether you're correct in your assumptions. And it's still not absolutely clear. I looked on a 1-hour time frame to try to break this down, and potentially this last 5-wave move, this may have been wave 1, wave 2. This may have been 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, wave 3 here. We may actually have wave 4, so we still could have lower to go to finish what would be an actual 5-wave move. But it's a bit deceptive. It looks like we have a 5-wave move already. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's how it looks. But you do need to go into shorter time frames and look at the internal wave counts, because as we'll see in a moment when we look at Jasmy, for example, which has been a real popular trading asset recently. The breakdown there is a bit clearer.
Nice move on Jasmine. I looked at that this morning. What, 18% over the last week, something like that?
It's been up and down a lot. It's actually been down a bit lately. It actually is one of those assets which has fallen from much higher levels. I mean, we will take a quick look at it, but as I say, I think there's potential. And as I say, I'd be looking to DCA somewhere around these levels, because I do believe this is a correction and we're going to get new all-time highs on Bitcoin. So whether we catch the bottom or not, if you DCA, you don't need to catch the exact price, because you're going to DCA in at different levels and hopefully average an entry price out with the reasonable confidence that we're going to go to new all-time highs. And as I said yesterday, even if you have a long-term mega bearish view that the markets are going to crash maybe next year sometime, even so, we'd expect new all-time highs for Bitcoin and probably a minimum target around that 84,000 level that we talked about yesterday, somewhere around there. So longer term, slightly longer term, whether you call it medium term, anyway, the outlook is pretty positive. I will just jump straight over to Jasmine, because actually there's been a lot of, I know we had a good rally. You can see this is probably the rally you're talking about short term, but longer term, it looks as though we may have lower to go. So again, there's a lot of correlation across these assets, across crypto assets. And whilst I said we may have lower to go with Bitcoin, we may have completed the move again here with Jasmine at this level, or this may just be a correction, which actually it looks like at the moment it is just a correction higher, and we could have lower to go. This would be the logical target. The 100% of this, I measured this A move down here, transposed to B, logical target will be 100% at 0.015, so 1.5 cents. So quite a bit lower than where it is now. But again, I'd be looking to DCA all around these levels, because the likelihood is from the previous levels that we had, low levels, we've had what seems to be a very clear A up, B down, C up. And you can see here how we break these. They're all broken down into fractals. So this C wave, for example, is broken down into 5 waves. We can see here 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 in blue, making up a C wave in red. But that makes up a much larger, again, A wave in blue. So this is what I say, they're all fractal in nature. So there's waves within waves within waves. And even the 5th wave from this blue for the box, the squared 4 here to the squared 5 here, even that itself is broken down into 5 smaller waves. And if you were to look on a shorter time frame, you'll actually see they're broken down beautifully with perfect Fibonacci relationships within, etc. So I have no doubt that the internal wave counts are correct here. And then from the top, the large A wave, we have an A, B, and whether we completed the C here or a bit lower, it's not quite clear as yet. But it's looking, the risk is potentially to the downside to push down to have a C wave here. So that would kind of give me it would tell me that we're likely to moving down across the board with most of the assets, Bitcoin, etc. And that's why I think Bitcoin may have a bit lower to go. Jasmine may have a bit lower to go, and the same with other assets. I mean, if we look here at Ethereum, again, we could have completed from the top here, this local top, an A, a B, and a C could be completed, or that could also be just basically this C may not be complete yet. We may have a bit lower to go with the C wave. Entirely possible that we've got, just to push down a bit lower to there with the C wave before we push higher. But you can see that the expectation is that this is still a correction and we're going to push much higher again after this. So I believe this is the case. As I said, with Bitcoin, I think we're going to push to new all-time highs. With Ethereum, I think we're going to push to at least the previous all-time high, I believe. I think this is just a large corrective wave 4 down, which is probably not complete yet. And like Jasmine, we're looking ideally for this 100% extension. So I measured the wave down here, the A wave, transpose it to the top of this B wave, and the target here is 2,706 for Ethereum. So it's highly likely, once again, we can see if we looked within this movement up here, we can see it itself is made up of an A, a B, and a C wave. So that's corrective. So being corrective against the trend on this timescale is down. So we'd expect a further push down, as I say, to this 100% level at 2,700. So I do expect it's likely we're going to see lower levels, but not much lower, but somewhat lower across the crypto world. And that may or may not carry it across to the traditional financial system. Here we're looking at the S&P 500. We've had a bit of a pullback from the all-time high there. Again, I don't think this is a long-term pullback. I think we're probably going to see new all-time highs. As I mentioned yesterday, I'm not sure if it's showing on here, but I've got a target higher for the S&P 500. So whilst we may be undergoing a bit of a correction, which would correlate across the board to crypto world as well, because they're all risk assets, there is some correlations between them, but I think that we've still got somewhat higher to go, new all-time highs yet again for the S&P 500. So I think we did, and I'm sure we did. Yeah, we have looked at Jasmine. So I just wanted, I'm getting like Biden here.
So you got a ways to go, brother. They got to be honest. I mean, I don't know. I think they're just probably scared to death. We did have a request as well from our friend Marcosi in Dubai. He wanted us to cover Ondo, just to put it out there. ONDO.
Okay, I'll check.
Yeah,
we can have a quick look at it. I mean, again, I've got Ondo up now. It's great token. I think it's got great potential. Again, we actually reached a beautiful target there. So we measured a wave up, transposed after this correction down. It gave us a precise top in the market here at 100% extension at $1.47. That was precise. That was to within a matter of a cent or so. So that was just absolutely amazing that the target was hit precisely. Now we're moving down in corrective mode, and we seem to have 3 waves down, and this seems to be some kind of triangle. So a triangle is made up, it's a corrective structure, and it's a pre-terminal structure. So we have basically 3 waves down, a triangle, and then a final wave down here. So it's probably a 3-3-5 type movement. So what that's telling me is a triangle is an A, B, C, D, E. So A, B, C, D, E. And then you get the thrust from the triangle, which is what we're seeing here, the move down. So I think that there's still probably lower to go. So like, again, correlating across the rest of the market, short term, Ondo apparently has lower to go. So we're going to likely go below this previous low level here. And if I was to measure, and again, I'll just measure that very quickly. It's good. I love being asked to look at these things on a live basis. It just shows how the analysis works. So usually it's from the thrust. So I'm expecting we may well have a bit lower to go, possibly 77, 78 cents, somewhere around that level would be a potential target. So that would what I've done is measure this movement down. Then I go to the end of the triangle, the E wave, and 100% extension there is the 77.9 cents. So I'm expecting a bit lower, but because this is corrective, it's basically an A, a B, and a C down, and a B wave triangle is perfectly allowable. Now, the thing is, it cannot be wave 2 because triangles are not allowed to be in a wave 2 position. So you start to narrow down the options and actually give yourself some clarity as to what this actually is. And a triangle is a pre-terminal wave. So it means that this final wave down is a terminal wave before we change direction again back to the impulsive direction of the upside. So I think risk reward on this is really good. And I'd probably be looking to DCA all around these sort of levels, from maybe the previous low here to the 100%. I'd be looking to DCA around these levels. Again, not all of your assets, but sprinkle a bit into across assets, and DCAing around here will give you a really good target. I mean, the previous target would be $1.50, and you'd look actually to exceed that substantially. But minimum target 150 from 77, you're looking at almost 100% potential upside if you're able to catch these levels down here. So really good potential upside. So Ondo is one of those good opportunities, I think, moving ahead. It's been one of my favorite tokens. We can see here the impulsive direction is very clearly has been upwards here, and this looks to me to be clearly corrective down because this appears to be a triangle. So yeah, I think we're on for a really good one here. It's one I will definitely be looking at myself. It's one I highlighted, and one actually I think that eBay Ratings highlighted some time ago that had an upgrade. So longer term, slightly longer term, I'll be looking for some really good upside there. So I think, yeah, Under's a great one to be looking at. Another one, Injective, whilst the whole market's down a little bit at the moment, but Injective also. I think this is just showing again the correlation across the board, actually, because they're all looking a little bit further down. So again, even with Injective, we seem to have had some kind of WX and working on a Y wave. A Y wave is made up of a 535. So I do expect more downside to come to complete the Y wave, and then substantial upside to come. So again, if we were to get down to these sort of levels, the upside is absolutely phenomenal. And Injective is one of those good AI tokens, and a bit like eBay. eBay is an AI token, which is basically, I think, a sleeping giant that I think will wake up at some point. And you know, even Injective, it's suffering at the moment price-wise, but I think there's such tremendous potential in some of these tokens. So I'll just try and wrap up looking at a couple, because we have had some good moves. One of them is one of Bruce's favorites, the Litecoin, which
Litecoin is looking nice too, right? It has held. I don't know. It's held. I feel like the price fairly well. I mean, it's moved, but.
Yeah, I mean, we actually got a really nice move down from the top here. We measured the A wave, we transposed the B, and we got a move down precisely again to the penny to the 0.786, which is a very important Fibonacci retracement area. And I said that the buy zone, I've got my level here, this was drawn, you know, some time ago, so it's not something I've just drawn in now. And price did actually respect that level, the 0.786, but I'm just saying potentially, and I believe probably actually, it will test down to 100%. So whilst this looks positive at the moment, so far it's in the form of an ABC. That's a correction higher. So I do actually expect we probably are going to see a bit more downside to probably test this 100% extension. But then I think we're going to see some good upside, some really good upside. So I think we're still in for a rally, a strong rally across the board. You know, a little bit later this year, we're getting, you know, I think we're going to see a really good rally before. I think next year is going to be the painful time, but right now I think there's plenty of fuel left in these markets, and we're seeing that, you know, across so many different assets now. Ondo, we're seeing this, we're seeing, to be honest, virtually everyone you look at, they're in corrective mode right now. Corrective means they're just chopping around. We may have a bit lower to go.
And this sideways chop after around, you know, after the halving is very normal. I mean, for 3 to 6 months of a sideways chop, I mean, it's always painful, but it's very normal. I think probably October,
and it's
really
not
start to see some major moves.
Yeah, I mean, it's also typical anyway, just summertime, the summertime blues, where people are basically traders are away for the summer.
I talked to one of my clients the other day, and he says, Bruce, I take off in the summer until September or mid-August or something. I said, oh, it must be nice. It's such a European thing. He says, no, it's not a European thing, which it kind of is. But he says it's just experience. You know, there's just not much. It's the dog days of summer, as they call it.
Yeah, I think it's important to look at as well that we did get the sell-off that was anticipated. And again, we mentioned this in advance that we're expecting DXY, so the dollar, to fall further. Obviously off the back of slightly weaker inflation, even though it's, I still believe those figures aren't correct. I think they're being manipulated or something. But anyway, weaker than expected inflation. So we're seeing the dollar sell off, and that's exactly what we detailed yesterday. That if that happens, obviously the dollar's going to sell off, and we explain exactly why money's going to come out of treasuries, which means out of the US dollar, and it should be going into risk assets. Well, it's not going so far into cryptos, because we're seeing a bit of a sell off today, but nothing too heavy. But I think we're in the final stages. So again, we can see here, we're looking as though with dollar index, we may have an ABC move and then probably push again, get another high on dollar index, which is basically telling us that bit of a further sell-off, final sell-off in crypto is probably coming. But then I think we're going to see a really longer term concerted turnaround for the US dollar to the downside. And I think that's when we really start to see the likelihood of lower interest rates and later on in the year, maybe even a bit more money printing, who knows. But we're going to see the dollar turn around and turn, after it finishes this final push up, we're going to see it turn around, quite a longer term turnaround, which is going to give crypto that boost that we're looking for. So crypto isn't dead. For all those crypto enthusiasts who are getting really losing patience, be patient. This is just typical for markets, especially summer, as we've said. I think things are going to pick up. Don't just, if you've been trading with proper risk reward, you wouldn't be piling all your money in at the top. You'd have just DCA'd in at, on pullbacks, etc. So again, if you've got any powder, just keep your powder dry, wait for possible pullbacks, and look to buy the lows, because I think new highs are coming for a lot of assets. A lot of the assets that we've looked at. And TON is another one of our favorites. Again, we may have a bit lower to go in a correction here, or it could even be complete. But I think TON is one of those assets that one of our favorites that, again, as long as you're not leveraged, you can afford to hold some of these assets. And I think they're all going to be come up trumps, as they say. So let's see. Yeah. So
I mean, when it does catch wind, I mean, we've been sitting at this $2.4 trillion market cap for quite a while now, and when that doubles, it's going to be pretty interesting for sure.
Yeah, and there's potential across the board. So again, just as a final theme, again, only put a small proportion into crypto assets, but even within crypto assets, diversified, because Bitcoin, at the moment, Bitcoin's actually, not performing particularly well. And I think that we will see a catch up when the market actually rallies. We may get further pullback now, but when it rallies, you're going to see the altcoins actually then outperforming Bitcoin. So this is why you don't put all your assets into all your eggs in one basket, as it were. Don't put everything into one asset. Even though Bitcoin is the big granddaddy of them all, you still want to be diversified within an asset class, but also across assets, et cetera, et cetera. So DCA, once again, is the order of the day. So hope that helps. And yeah, we'll watch with interest about the election news coming through. Thanks for that update today, Bruce. And thanks for the opportunity to present the financial markets.
Well, I really appreciate it, Matt. It is always a pleasure. And I think are we on a Friday already again?
I know. Oh, so not tomorrow. Amazing.
I know. That is something that flew by this week. Well, always a pleasure. Enjoy your weekend.
Yeah.
And look forward to seeing you on Monday if we don't talk before that.
Yeah. Thanks a lot. Catch you soon. All the best.
Cheers. All right, so we do have it's crazy times right now. One of the indicators of the crazy times is the fact that Donald Trump, the former president of the United States, Donald Trump, is going to speak at Bitcoin 2024. I never thought I would see the day when Donald Trump would embrace Bitcoin and crypto like he's done now. Of course, he's done, as I understand it, several different NFTs already. I think those were pretty wildly successful. Of course, the guy's got some major brand recognition, right? And now he's backing Bitcoin. The Republican Party has really made this part of their platform is Bitcoin and crypto. And it makes you wonder if because he was always so pro the US dollar when he was in office. He wanted the US dollar to be strong and this and that and the other, which is fine for the president. I always thought, well, I get it. But now really embracing Bitcoin. This is a monetary revolution. It's a monetary revolution, and it has been going on for the last over 10 years that I have been involved. I've been around the world talking about the monetary revolution and the fact that the way to peacefully take the power back from the people that have total control over our country is with the money. And I've even come to realize it even more. I come to realize it as things go on and as it becomes more and more obvious to what we're dealing with here. And it looks like, or at least publicly, this is the deal. And this is what they are, they're getting behind. Bitcoin. So Trump, the Bitcoin 2020 just really turned into a Trump rally, in my opinion. I mean, it's hard for anything that Trump does to be anything other than a Trump rally when he comes to speak there. So Bitcoin 24, it's in Nashville, 2024, it's in Nashville, July 25 through 27. Use the discount code Impact Money, you get a 10% discount. Now, as well, in my post, you will see that you will see that happy Friday to you, Marcos. Now I lost my place because our friend Marcos. It's Commander in Chief and Vice President, according to Sleepy Joe Biden. Oh, this is my friend from Dubai over here. So I'm telling you guys, the world is watching the U.S. politics in horror, and it's not so much that they really want to care because they don't, but they can't help themselves because we are planning World War III over here right now, and we can't keep our nose in our own business ever. So anyway, it's that's the way it is. It doesn't matter where you go around the world. I've been traveling around the world and talking to these people face to face for the last 10 years. It has been one of the most fun things that I've been able to do in my life. And I'm glad that I did it when I did. Now that the kids get a little older, I feel like I need to be around more. I thought need to be around less, which I already wasn't around that much. I mean, that's a relative term, but I was traveling. And but now they really need me. And I'm glad I went to all those places and met all those people. But get your tickets, guys. Impact Money. Use that referral code. You can just Google Bitcoin Miami or Bitcoin 2024 Nashville. It used to be Bitcoin Miami. And then use that code Impact Money. Or if you look at my post on X, the link is right there. That's the easiest way because sometimes the coupon codes can be a little funny. Make sure. Get your ticket today. I think this will sell out. This may sell out, guys. This is a major, major deal. Former president of the United States is speaking at Bitcoin 2024. It doesn't get any bigger than this. Like, this is the big time, guys. We made it. I mean, we my favorite part was when Biden called Zelensky President Putin. I know, man. It was really hilarious. Like arch enemies. And then guy, we can't put him up there. Now the guy that's sharp though is speaking at Bitcoin 2024. So we were also working behind the scenes to make sure that we get in front of the big guys. So you can imagine how that's going. And what we have up our sleeves for that. Okay, we are a partner for Bitcoin 2024. Make sure you get your tickets now. So if you're on X, you just click the link. If you're on LinkedIn, click the link. If you're on YouTube, click the link. I mean, most of these, I think I've figured out how to put my link on there. If not, just go there and enter in the discount code. Be there or be square because it's going to be pretty awesome. Okay, now. I also wanted to talk about one of our sponsors here, Coin Vigilante. Coin Vigilante watches. These things, beautiful watches. Coin Vigilante is the name of the watches. They're done by Vigilante Watches. Beautiful watches that we have here, guys. You see my watch here with the Bitcoin on it. Get yours today. Again, Impact Money. Impact Money is the discount code. You use that in order to get yourself a 10% discount, and you should do it. That's one of the ways that, of course, you can support the show if you like the show, get yourself a watch. We also have them for the ladies right here. I'm going to pull up the site here in a minute, but very, very nice. Very nice watches. Comes in a very nice box. And let's see here. I have it right here. I got it. I know I got it right here. Where is it? I could just make a new one. I have too many banners. Here we go. All right. Well, I'm going to make a new one. It is Coin Vigilante. Coinvigilante.com. Okay. Actually, I'm going to use a different one here. All right, this will work. Coinvigilante.com. Use Impact Money for a 10% discount. You can also use Impact Money 10% discount. Make it like that. And here you go. And that is Coin Vigilante. Coin Vigilante. Great watches, great guy, great company. American made watches. Coinvigilante.com. Beautiful, really beautiful watches here. I will just pull it up real quickly as I'm talking about it and share this screen. Boom, add it here, and you can take a better look at these things. These things are beautiful. We're having trouble on X. How? No, not X. I'm not sure. Hopefully everybody's able to still watch on X. I just got a message here, but look at this thing. Beautiful, beautiful watches here. Coin Vigilante. Check them out. Coinvigilante.com. Beautiful pieces here. They sold out on some of their pieces. They're all kind of limited to supply, especially this Coin Vigilante. I mean, look at this. Use code IMPACTMONEY. Get yours today. And let's meet in Nashville. Quality timepieces by our friends at Coin Vigilante there. Make sure to check them out. 10% discount that we have on there. So make sure to do that. Now, while I'm talking about all of this stuff, I want to get to a little bit more of the Rothschild's tax. We may or may not be performing the Rothschild's tax, our famous song. It's not famous quite yet, but it will be. Our famous song that I wrote, the Rothschild's tax, in Nashville. We may or may not be performing the Rothschild's tax. I think, though, it's important for you to know when they put out these inflation numbers and the markets react one way or the other, that they're talking about tax numbers from the central bank, from people that you don't elect. You don't elect these people. Woodrow Wilson, who's already passed away long ago, sold us out, and he pushed the Federal Reserve Act and gave the power to mint the money to a shadowy cartel, the central banking cartel, foreigners for the most part. And the people that are the main holders of this Federal Reserve, and you Google it and they'll tell you, oh, it's public and blah, 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 it's owned by the banks and and this and that. Listen, these people right here, they didn't make a central bank to just make it public, okay? Held by the central, by the other banks or whatever else. So those it's important that you know who it is, though. It's the Rothschilds, the Rockefellers, the Morgans, the Warburgs, Goldman Sachs, Lehman, Kuhn Loeb, Lazard, Israel, Moses Schiff, and Stillman. And these are the families who own the Federal Reserve. And you notice I never get fact checked on that. All right. So if you're wondering about, oh, is that real? Or I never get fact checked on that, because that is true. It is a fact. It's fact. Why in the world should these people have total control over you? Actually, it's completely unacceptable. They have total control. They have total control over Congress. They have total control over the media. They're able to buy out everything. They're able to buy out everything. And they, JP Morgan and these guys even orchestrated bank crashes in order to buy everything up cheap. I mean, this has been it's the biggest scam that's ever. It's the biggest scam ever. And it's been going on for 111 years inside the United States. And it must stop. It has to stop. It will stop. They will keep taxing you until your money is worth nothing. Now, there's all types of measures. There's a lot of different measures that they can use in order to keep the dollar usable, okay? But if they can dilute it however much they want, that's how they tax you. That's the Rothschild's tax. The Rothschild's tax is inflation. It comes off our backs. So the way that you can beat that tax right now peacefully is by getting out of the US dollar, not financial advice and all that good stuff we're supposed to say. It's highly speculative. I get paid to post. I get paid to talk about stuff. All those things I'm supposed to say. But as long as you're holding the dollar, they can tax the heck out of you. And I was actually on their page last night. I was just kind of looking around at central banks of the world. I was looking at Venezuela. Venezuela is kind of interesting. Of course, they've had this inflation run out, and they got a long history as well with this central banking cartel trying to get in there and not getting in there and getting kicked out and all this stuff. And it says it's 100% government owned for Venezuela. And so I started looking around, and Federal Reserve, it doesn't say it's owned by anybody, or it says it's owned by banks, or whatever they say, it's all whatever. But 5% is what they're charging now. So when Congress goes for another $100 billion, and here's the thing, they're loaning out money they don't have. So when they print the money, they're in effect loaning the money to you. But with the fractional reserve system that we're using, they're just minting the money out of thin air. So we're paying them to loan us money that isn't there. 5%. So you figure they're going to do another 100 billion. They're going to be knocking on our door for another 100 billion. Netanyahu's coming into town, not for no reason. He's coming in, pick up a check. And NATO's opening up an office or a base or whatever it is, or both, there in Jordan. So the U.S. is going to be more involved now in that Israel conflict than ever before through NATO. And NATO is going to be super involved. Israel's not even a member state, and neither is Ukraine. But NATO doesn't care. This military-industrial complex is out of control, and it is fueled by the Rothschild's tax that comes off our backs. Stop taxing me. Set me free. The Rothschild's tax. Inflation. So they're going to keep inflating the money. They have no choice but to keep printing money. Keep printing money. And then, well, they'll probably crash things again and then buy them up. And that is the way that this deal works. And we're under complete control. Like I said, they've been able to buy out the media completely. They've been able to buy out Congress completely. We literally have like 4 people. Is it 4 people in Congress that are like not part of this one uniparty? I mean, what is it? We got Marjorie Taylor Greene, I guess. Matt Gaetz, I guess, right? Yeah. We have Rand Paul, and we have Thomas Massey. And that's basically it, guys. Everybody else will vote one way or the other to make it look nice. But when it comes down to it, they'll do whatever they got to do in order to keep their handler happy. And in order to, probably stay alive as well. I mean, let's face it. It's out of control. It is completely out of control. And the reason is these families and their central bank has total and complete control of your country. Total and complete control. And they actually, many don't know this, they confiscated all of your family's gold in 1933. They confiscated all of, and Teddy Roosevelt did an executive order, said they needed all the gold from everybody because people were hoarding gold. He said, people are hoarding gold. So they confiscated all the gold of everybody. They put a $10,000 fine if you didn't turn in your gold, which is the equivalent of about $1 million right now. It's a massive fine. $1 million fine if you didn't turn in your gold. And then they diluted the money supply and stole the rest of everything people had through inflation over the last 111 years, where $10,000 is now worth, it used to be worth $1 million, and now it's worth hardly anything. You can't even buy a car with $10,000. Families, husbands, wives, both have to work. Slave labor, basically. People think they're doing well, making, $250,000, $300,000 a year. You're not even upper class. You're middle class. We have 5 classes now. We have the ultra wealthy, which is the people who are wealthy really beyond your understanding. We have the upper class. Upper class is people, they're making millions of dollars per year. You have the middle class. The middle class is probably making around $500,000 or more. You have the working class who's making under $500,000. And then you have the poor, and the poor are basically living off the government, making less than $100,000. And that's the state of our economy. And people, they always told us that inflation was natural, inflation was this, inflation was that. No, inflation is a tax. You've been taxed, literally, you have been taxed into extinction. Why didn't you have 6 kids? If you had all the money in the world, would you have wanted 6 kids? Would you have wanted 10 kids? Why didn't you have them? Maybe you didn't have them because there wasn't enough money. You didn't think you had enough money. Your wife didn't think you had enough money. We have a population collapse. Elon Musk, I'm a little back and forth on the guy. I mean, he's done a lot, but I'm a little worried about some of the stuff he does too. But he's plugged into that Neuralink. I should probably plug into the Neuralink too, so I can understand things a little better. I don't know. I volunteered, as I've said on the show. I volunteered to do it. But they didn't call me back. They didn't call me back. And yeah, what are you going to do, right? So we need to get these people out of our money. That's like one of the most important things right there. Those countries we need out. Tangem, the Tangem wallet. It's a quasi hardware wallet. Tangem wallet. You can get your assets on here. Go to tangem.com. Use discount code Impact Money. That's the theme here. Use Impact Money. Get a 10% discount. Little card here. It's got a RFD chip or whatever you do. Pop it up to your phone. You can access your stuff. They send it in 2 or 3 at a time. Okay, so you get 2 or 3, and that way you can have them backed up. Okay, you can put them in different spots. You get your seed phrase. It is an offline wallet. Not your keys, not your coins. Remember that. Not your keys, not your coins. Tangem wallet. If you order this today, I'll be able to see in the back end. If you order this Tangem wallet, this is a great way to get started. I think it's like $69 for the well, I'll tell you what. Let's just look real quick. I think it's $69 for the 3 card. Tangem. Here they are right here. This is a slick deal. It's slick. And it's pretty. Your wallet. Tangem wallet. Your wallet. Slim as a bank card. Secure as a bank vault. Store, buy, earn, transfer, and swap thousands of coins from $54. 25-year warranty. Swiss-based. I got behind these guys. I actually did an interview of a couple of their representatives a number of times. But go to tangem.com, use discount code Impact Money. You'll see there's actually a link on most of my posts, so you'll be able to follow that. Tangem wallet activation in 3 minutes. It is super easy to use. They are as well. There's a lot of different stuff they have coming out, but you can buy, sell, trade in here, and as well put it on different. They're adding a Visa card. They're adding a Visa card to it, so you're really going to be able to use this a lot. You're going to be able to use it a lot. It's going to be pretty cool. Tangem, your wallet. The Tangem wallet. Now, I'm working on getting our friends over here at Polka Gold on this. Polka Gold had a nice move up yesterday. Markets are retracting a little bit. This was this chart. You can see here 12% on the week. Polka Gold, I've talked about this one a number of times because I am long. I'm long on the Polka Gold. And the reason I'm long is because of what they're doing. Polka Gold. I'm going to change this one to a big banner, big boy banner here. And boom, show. And then I'll take this one here and I'll make this a scrolling banner. Oh man, I'm getting good at this stuff here. So if you're watching and you're part of the Polka Gold community, I want you to go over to Tangem, go over to the Tangem Telegram and tell them to add Polka Gold because they have Algorand on there. Polka Gold is a token on Algorand. Okay. And this thing, I'm bullish on this for a number of reasons. And I've talked about it a bit. Okay. But one of the reasons is that all the liquidity is locked. All the liquidity is locked. Vistage, right? So if you're looking for an asset that you want to buy, not financial advice, I get paid to post, all that stuff, okay? Okay. But if you're looking at an asset, I want you to get one that is obviously that I think is going to go up, and that is as well that you have a way out. And this liquidity is locked. It's locked here. Let's go right over to their website. Liquidity is locked on this thing. So they started it. Reserve digital commodity for Polkadot. Okay. And it's locked. And what they did was they started it with a whole bunch of Algorand. and they put all the coins in there, and so all the coins are bought. And then you can stake it. You can do all this stuff. I'm gonna start to stake it. I tried to do a video last night of buying it on the Para wallet, because you can buy it on the Para wallet as long as you're willing to, with the credit card, as long as you're willing to use a VPN. But I felt weird doing a VPN on the show. So you can see here. Here we go. This is the 4-hour chart here. As you can see, Polka Gold changes up. This is the hourly is a bit different on here, but you can see, boom, we have a 4% move up on the 24-hour, depending on where this is set. It was like a big move. It was a big move yesterday. Nice move. We have $458,000 there in the TVL. 484 total. It's probably including USDC or something like that. The locked is over 81%. So it gives you a way out, guys. There's a way out. And that's one of the reasons why I am bullish on Polka Gold. I'm bullish on Polka Gold. Get yourself some Polka Gold today. What you're going to want to do is actually go over, I mentioned the Para wallet. So you want to go over to the Para wallet. Para. And they're coming out with another a token that's backed by P Gold next week. I'm going to talk a little bit more about it next week. But you want to get your P Gold in order to do that. But this is simply the best Algorand wallet. Remember, they're built on Algorand. So you can use that Algorand wallet, and you can get yourself some P Gold. And I know it's backed and everything else, and is a good one. Is a good one. Okay, another great show that we've had today. I think I pretty much covered everything that I wanted to cover. Orban on the peace mission to Mar-a-Lago was pretty interesting, I thought, how that's playing out here. The markets, one of the things I always talk about the central bank, one of the things that the central bank does is they market make. And one of the reasons why they market make is to remove US dollars from circulation. And so that's one of the things that they do. And if they want to send over $100 billion or more to all of these different places, like I said, so I even replacing the nuclear arsenal. I don't know if you guys noticed that it came out. They were like, it was like 100 billion or 130. Let's just say 100 billion. Make the numbers easy, in order to replace the whole U.S. nuclear arsenal that needed to be updated for the last 20 years. They've been trying to update it, and then they're like, okay, we're going to do it. And then it was 200 billion. And everyone's like, whoa. I was like, whoa, man, some guys are getting paid. Some guys are getting paid. But I wonder how much of that they're fluffing in order to send these F-16s and everything everywhere. I talked about it on the show yesterday. When the U.S., when you hear them say that we're sending F-16s or Germany or Switzerland or whoever is sending F-16s to the Ukraine, that means that we're giving them new F-16s and you're paying for it. And they're going to use the Rothschild tax in order to do it. Because again, the Rothschilds and the Rockefellers and the Morgans and the Warburgs and the Goldman Sachs, the Lehmans, Kuhn, Loeb, Lazard, Israel, Moses, Schiff, and Stillman. You probably don't even know any of those people. They're going to give them paper money that they don't have. They don't have it. But they're going to give them paper money. That money is going to be spent. It's going to dilute your money supply and cause inflation. That's the scam. The biggest scam of our lifetimes, guys. The biggest scam of our lifetimes. We need to stop the scam. We need to close the Federal Reserve. It's the only way forward. We will never have freedom as long as the Federal Reserve has total and complete control of our money supply. It'll never happen. It will never happen. Get involved. Get involved in the monetary revolution. Come and see us in Nashville. I think that's a great way to get involved. Come see us in Nashville, July 25 through 27. Come and see us in Nashville, Tennessee. The Impact Money Show will be there. Come and see us. Get a ticket. Come to Nashville, Music City, USA. Use code Impact Money to do it. Look forward to seeing you guys. Another fun show, another great show. It is always a pleasure. We'll be back on your TVs in about 5 hours. Where's my things here? Brand. Cheers.
Your voice is powerful. When combined with social engagement, it's a force for change. Decentralized media paired with free speech is the catalyst for an empowered world and a unified, invaluable ecosystem. Join Global Boost, become a champion of free speech, and help to reshape the future of media.